The president has directed the Inspector General of Police to move down to Benue State. He's there already with his men. What do you think about this move, and how do you think this is going to help, quell some of this crisis there?
Ordinarily, it would be a great thing for the Inspector General of Police to move into Benue State in the same way that the president had directed the army chiefs to move into Borno State to handle the Boko Haram. It would be a fantastic move by the president to say, I have taken the highest enforcement agent to go into Benue himself and see things and resolve. Unfortunately, the Inspector General lost his authority the moment he pronounced the verdict that whatever was happening in Benue was a communal crisis. He said that before he went to Benue. What else is he going there to do? And time after time, whenever we have crises like this, usually the community will say 50 people have been killed. The commissioner of police will say, oh, it's exaggerated. The figure is 20. Then the Inspector General, by the time it comes out of his office, he pares the figure down. So we don't know exactly what our law enforcement agencies are doing. We cannot say what measure of integrity, what kind of information they are giving to the president. Has the Inspector General gone to Benue to justify the fact that, all we found was communal crisis? He could also have found some criminals and paraded them that, after all, these were the Tiv people killing themselves, or the Idoma people, or the Igede people, or the Agatu people killing themselves. If that is his mission, he will fail. But if his ground norm, if his rules of engagement is to synthesize information, to carry a highly sophisticated technological surveillance, to find out where the problem is. And it is not in Benue per se. If he's gone to Benue, then he could as well put his searchlight, because it is very clearly demonstrated and stated whenever there are attacks, they are coming from Nasarawa State or part of Taraba states. So if he's gone to Benue to find the solution may not be in Benue. It may be in the adjoining states. Okay. He is the Inspector General. He should listen to the people. If he doesn't and carries on, he will come back, he will draw a blank, or he will come out with a prognosis that has no bearing on the reality on the ground, and then he could even misinform the president. Okay. Prof, having said that, I believe that the president was mistaken in sending the Inspector General before he, the president, going there to identify with these people that prayed so hard when he was sick, with these people who prayed so hard when his son was injured, who have actually died. We need some empathy from our president, for goodness sake. We need somebody who cares, who empathizes, who sympathizes, who is not just going to find votes, who is going to go there for...
If I may come in here, Prof, we're looking at solutions here. So is it, let me read something out. That's a write-up by Miguel Angel Martin Lopez. It says it is important to encourage pastoralist associations and networks all over the world to carry on participating in the common objective of developing a human rights-based agenda to ensure the coexistence of all parties involved in the pursuit of peace. Now, let's look at the issue of human rights, a human rights agenda. How can we begin to develop that, both locally and internationally? The rights of the pastoralists to existence, the rights of the pastoralists to breed their cattle, the rights of the farmer to exist, the rights of the citizens to own land and manage their land. How can we generate that agenda now?
I think it is very easy. With political will, if we sit down and come out with a great economic development plan for our country, if we carefully plan First and foremost, the issue of education. Nigeria needs to have greater attention to science education, to technological education, to the study of maths and engineering. This will move us into knowledge-based industrial country. It will alleviate some of the problems we have. Corruption must be dealt with decisively. And in dealing with corruption, we must understand that this present problem was also caused by corruption. The failure of all the irrigation dam projects in the north that had been started, all failed. We must also, the human rights of the child, it is a gross abuse of children to send them all over, pushing cattle from one bush area to the other. These people should be pitied. They have no access to light, no access to water. They are human beings too. Whoever is sending them to go all over the land has no conscience. We need Nigeria to give education to every single child. We need to enhance the life of herdsmen. Okay. Pastoralism and nomadism over the centuries has ended. Nigeria and some African countries are the only places where we have nomads pushing their cattle from one place to the other and calling it our own way of life. That way of life is pre-modern, primitive, and barbaric.
You've heard what, the National Publicity Secretary of the Miyetti Allah, what he talked about and how he's saying that this can only be, peace can only come when everyone comes to the table and we discuss. So in closing, what would you say, if you are part of those on that table, what would you be saying that how we can end this crisis?
If I sat on that table with the gentleman from Miyetti Allah, I would tell him to be sensitive to what has happened. You cannot come and blame the victim in that most callous and ominous manner in which he said that people are killing themselves. It's a horrible thing to say. I would say we should be more sensitive. I would say even our choice of words should be dictated by rationalism. For instance, the minister says one of the solutions is to establish a cattle colony. The use of the word colony there alone is wrongly put because it emphasizes the idea of going to acquire what does not belong to you for your own purpose. And that is reflective of colonialism. I would say that they had ample opportunity to have participated in the making of the law, which they rejected. And there has been a continuous running down and denigration of ethnicity, which is also a qualification for genocide. When you target a particular ethnic group and diminish them and profile them, and subsequently acts of violence are done against them. So I would say this man should be arrested, his association be arrested, and when they come out of prison, then we will discuss. But meanwhile, it is an established fact that there is an association there's an army of herdsmen across the Sahel.